week of September out of the way, 3 more to go, and we're cooking with gas now. This week is a short week, of course, because we had the holiday. Hope you all had a great Labor Day. I had a wonderful time. I was working, I was developing, and do you think I ever went fishing? No, I never got a chance to really get out there. At least the catching, I was by the water a little bit. I think I drove by a lake once. I'm really disappointed in that part of me. But the other part of me really kicked ass in getting a lot of things out and built and getting direction, which is going to be great for all of you. So what are we going to talk about today? Today's topics are going to be a little bit detailed as far as on our direction and who we are and what we are. So we're going to talk about our mission statement. And before you kind of go all, you think I'm going to go all metaphysical on you, I want you all to know that the mission statement is the most important thing that any company, not just this company, but any company can have. And it really is the personality of the company. It's that smiling face of a person when you meet them. What does it make you feel like when you hear a company's mission statement? If it's robotic and lethargic and, has a whole bunch of fancy words in it, you really don't make a connection with it. So you're going to see what we have as a mission statement. And I want you to let me know what the mission statement means to you. Okay. We're going to talk about some training changes. We talked about last week, and I was really, this happens, and Amy tells me all the time, you're probably biting off a little bit more than you can chew, and she's right. I'm a workaholic, but I'm not Superman. So we wanted to make a lot of changes to have them done through the weekend, but there were some things that I needed to get done first to kind of close those doors so I could focus on nothing but the building and supervision of the training and the process and the affiliate network and all these things, these great things that are happening. And I wanted to make sure that we paid each one of them the proper attention that they needed. We're also going to talk about the new indicator, right? The support and resistance. Oh my God. I love this thing. Now, I've been using support and resistance for a long time. In the very beginning, I used to hand do them onto all of my 10 charts. Now with this indicator that we have, wow. It just makes it that much easier. If you haven't downloaded it yet, you want to wait for a moment because I'm adding on a new version of it here. And for those that you already have it, you're going to start to see that we're going to have more of a version intake of those indicators so you can better use them and know what versions you're on and stuff like that. So hopefully you'll enjoy this. And we're going to talk about the indicator a little bit more in depth and why we have done it. And even another little secret part of it called the zigzag, which you're going to find, oh boy, is extremely beautiful. And then we're going to talk about we need your help. And something that Paul was alluding to in the chat room too, very coincidentally, about screen shares and how to do screen shares and show us what you're doing. So sharing this information is very powerful, not just for us, but for your own success. And we'll kind of go through that process as we get on with the webinar. All right, let's get started. So basically, our whole entire mission statement for Dex Signals, for Our City Investments, for me, Max Farrow, for Amy Kuipers and Brian Farrow, and the other people that we have on board is, and I'm going to read this verbatim first, but I'm going to break it down into 3, maybe 4 sections, right? It's not very long. A mission statement shouldn't be long-winded. It should be very concise and to the point. The first line representing to help as many people as we can reach their idea of success. Now, this is not help reach success because that would be considered our idea of success, but we are trying to get them to reach their idea of success. Why? Because there are 50 million levels of success for anybody. One person's success, say the one lady that I spoke to the other day who, when I asked them the question, like I've asked some of you, how much are you expecting to make? What do you need to make? Where is your idea of success at? Where do you need this to be? And she says, well, I just need to make about $500 a month. Yeah, right? Some of you are probably going, yeah, I need that a day. You see? So the idea of success is not so much a macro look at something. Okay, it's not about the car you drive. It's not about the house you have. It's about the mentality you possess when you get there. Some of you already consider yourself a success. Some of you already consider yourself at that position that this is forward moving for you, and that to you is success. Having a goal, having a direction is success to you. The second part of this mission statement is simple: to guide those that are lost and show them a way, not the way. Because sometimes the way that's right for me is not the way that's right for you. Again, keeping it very, I won't say open-ended, but keeping it very fluid, that it can be anything for anyone. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here. We're not trying, we have accomplished it. And we're very successful at it. We're successful at it because we sort of mold the system, the program, who we are, how we consult with people to what they need. We want to show you a way. For some of you, it might be 20-minute binary. Some of you, it might be dailies, intraday 20/20s. You might want to just use indication. You might want to have technical analysis, which we have some, not a lot. I'm not a big fan, but I have some. We're using 20 EMAs and 50 EMAs and double stows and calculation of pips, and it's a whole bunch of stuff. The last part, and one of my favorites, is to shine light on that which is dark and to make simple that which has become complicated. This is the mantra. It should be put into a little Bible, if you will, Bible-esque process of that this is the mantra of Dex Signals, Our City Investments, Max, Amy, and Brian. It might become your mantra too. Because all of it, this entire thing, is who you have to become. Because in order for you to help as many people you can, you have to be able to help yourself. You have to know how to help yourself. You have to be understanding of who you are, which Amy, myself, and Brian have become. To guide those that are lost and show them a way, you have to know a way, which we do. And to shine light on that which is dark, you have to become the light to be able to do so. And to make simple which has become complicated, you have to understand the complicated to be able to make it simple, which we do. So this concept is very deep in a way, but extremely simple in another. And it's how well you can allow yourself as a trader. Okay, I want to tie this all in for you right now. Why is this so important for you? It's because you have to be available and ready to listen. You have to be able to train yourself and be part of that the next segment. Because trading is not easy, especially when it doesn't have a reason. Discipline, goals, direction, or whatever else you may need isn't given. It's learned, right? I didn't say earned. It's learned. It's a learned process. You have to be able to do to become disciplined. You have to have the fire, the desire, whatever else it is inside of you that needs to be there, needs to be available for you to be able to pull against to do what you need to do to find your primary reason for doing this. If you don't have a reason, there's no need to be here. I was speaking yesterday to a gentleman who is a professional pilot, flies all over the world, and was making statements, and it's very true statements to him, is that he needed to have it to where it was easy for him to be able to utilize while he's flying around. Flying is very complicated. Now, okay, I guess there's a whole bunch of autopilot stuff that you can have, and you're just basically a passenger who knows where all the buttons are, and that's cool, right? But he was looking for something, and still is, and he's getting there, looking for a position or a process to be handed to him so he can follow that But then at the same time, and we're going to talk about this here in a minute, looking for the next shiny object. The primary key of your success is giving yourself the opportunity to learn the process in front of you, whatever it might be, 20/20s, dailies, intradays, 20-minute binaries, indication, technical analysis, price action, whatever it might be. Choose the one, practice it until you perfect it, make it consistent, add your volume, get to your goal, step and repeat. That's your pathway. That's what we've been praising this entire time. We're not here to help one person. I'm here to help millions as much as I can. That's my goal. I've already helped myself. I've already made those decisions. I've already found that pathway. I've already found that discipline. Somebody said, you were in marketing, now you're in trading. It's all about people. The market's about humans anyway, right? You want to talk about being in your head? It's all about all of us. This is a big question for yourself. Why are you failing? If you're here and you're not making a lot of money, it's not even really about making a lot of money, but if you're making it instantly, you have to begin to ask yourself, why not? Because if you're failing, it's because probably, now again, this isn't for everybody, right? This isn't for every single person that, okay, it worked out or didn't work out or what have you, but I can guarantee you that a couple of you can raise your hand for this. And me, I was guilty in it just as much as you're about to raise your hand for. It's because you're still searching. Let me ask you, if you were starving, and I mean really, really hungry, right? You're in the middle of the woods, whatever, and I just happen to pop out of nowhere and say, okay, let me show you how to fish. And I teach you how to fish, I teach you how to catch it, I teach you how to cook it, and then your basic instincts takes over and you can eat it, right? And I teach you all of this stuff, and I hand you the tools, I hand you a fishing rod, a pot, I hand you some matches, and I show you where the wood is, I hand you an axe, and I give you all the tools. You catch your fish. The question is then, would you eat it at that point? Because you're hungry, you're starving, this is it, this is what I have to do. Or would you throw the fish on the ground and go look for someone to teach you how to hunt deer at that point? The analogy is remain true that most of you, when given a direction, the clock on the wall, intraday dailies, it doesn't matter. Once you have something that begins to work, like I was talking to you about, the gentleman said to me that, I was doing okay the first week, and then, I tried this, and then I was trying this, and then I tried that. And you hear that a lot. I hear that from a lot of you. It was going good until I tried this. It was going good until I didn't pay attention. It was going good until, you all have that until it was going good till part. And it's difficult for all of us because we all try to find the next shiny object. That's why there's so many things in there. If it was just about one thing, it's not. It's about multiple things. But I do that because when I'm making the programs for all the different types of people, you have to find what thing does fit into you. The understanding of this entire program comes down to only a handful of things. Is that we're always looking for that next shiny object. It doesn't exist. There's no one button push process out there. You're going to see a program that's going to be out there, a little marketing campaign that I'm doing, why binary option signal strategies and systems don't work. Now, how the hell can I say that? We own a signals company and a training network. The idea of us getting to a level of learning by skipping, by not practicing, because we think that it has to be a system or has to be a program or has to be a signal. is not true. And I'd rather lose you as a customer than have you here for any other pretense than to know that I'm here to help you get to your idea of success. Because trading is only one part of your success. And in fact, if you're not prepared, if you're not fluent, if you're not disciplined, those are other systems altogether. Discipline, fluidity in your market, making money, working from home, all of it takes effort. You see, some of you are remote traders, right? You work, you have a job, you're trying to do it, you're trying to trade at work. Big mistake. I'm going to tell you that right now. Remote trading is very difficult. We have this statement here, right? And I didn't put it into the graphic. But before you try to make it easy, maybe you should make it. You have to make it before you make it easy. It's one of my favorite statements. I love that quote. My third favorite quote. Because some of you are trying to get to a point where I want to trade on my iPad while I'm sitting down and drinking a cocktail. Sorry. Throw all that money right in the freaking trash. Do one better. Send it to me. I'll trade it forward and give it to 50 other traders that we can get into the system and find those people that want to trade and want to make it happen. People like Thor, Paul, Will H., Dan, all these people that have that drive to make something happen. It's not easy. You have to choose something within the inventory that we have. We don't have all the inventories that are out there, right? There's a whole bunch of other stuff that's out there. We haven't even begun yet to talk about Forex. Why? Because it's the ultimate end stop for you. Eventually, one day, you'll get frustrated with Nadex or binaries or whatever else you're doing. And you'll dip your toe into the big ocean and you'll say, I'm ready. And at that point, it's not about making it easy. You might not ever become that person. You may not be that ocean fisher. You might just want to be that person that sits on your nice little lake and does, your $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and that's your life. But there's not a cap on it. With anything that we're doing, there's never a cap. That one life equation, my favorite quote, which is consistency plus volume equals goal, is the one thing that could never run out for you. It can apply to everything. Right? It's the all season, all spice of quotes. Your concept now is to find out what one thing with us does work for you. Is it dailies with WOs? Is it dailies with choke-ups? Is it intradays with the high risk? Is it in confirmation? Is it 2020s with higher risk and even more confirmation? Is it news trading? Is it hedge trading? Is it trading binaries? Is it trading stocks? Or is it trading 20 minutes indices and commodities with Thor? What is it? We have more coming too, by the way. 5-minute binaries. Trading with indication, which I'm going to show you today. You're going to be blown away by what I'm going to show you in the demonstration. Blown away. Why? Because it's another clock on the wall. The idea of trading anything, making money, you just have to take the word trade out of it. And it's all about making money, right? Who's here to become a family? Or, I'm okay with relationships and building relationships with you. But to help you get to your idea of success requires money, does it not? You're getting education, you're getting discipline, you're getting understanding, you're learning these things as you're building them within yourself. But it's really about making money and getting to those goals. Some training changes are coming. There is going to be a small overhaul of the training platform so we can better serve all those that are coming. We're getting a lot of people that are coming from the overseas process that are giving us a little bit of flack on the direction of training. There's a lot of everywhere, right? And I have to apologize. I got to my shiny objects moment as well and wanted to get a lot of stuff done in a very short period of time. And I try to go with the flow with people from what Brian and Amy tell me of what the customization happens in the back scenes, the customer service side, right? And I try to put out the fires as we go. If it wasn't for Thor and Paul Davey and a handful of other people keeping me sane and staying in the rooms and keeping people activated and pushing and pushing and pushing and getting those signals out and doing such a wonderful job doing it, the company wouldn't even be where it's at right now and having this opportunity. And there's more to come because there's more people coming on. There's more people that have the experiences and are building the experiences like Paul and Thor and a handful of other people. And what's about to be released with all the processes with affiliation and all these other things, we needed to revamp a little bit. We need to make the system for training a little bit more linear. So when you come on board, you do an orientation. Once you get through that, then we'll open up the rest of it to you. Okay. And this is why it's very important for anybody who comes on to be in that sort of inductory part of, we don't want to give you access to all this other stuff until you understand it. And that takes a little bit of coding and a little bit of time to put in. So please bear with us with that. Okay. We're also adding some advanced courses, right? We're a marketing firm, an investment firm, all about people. And I've talked to a lot of you personally. I've made relationship with a lot of you. Some of you, all of you that say senior or elite by your name, I've spoken to you or I've had some sort of connection with you to get you to the point where you are right now. Now it's time to advance it. Some of you have told me, my main goal is to be able to work from home. I used to have this process that I would help people find these online jobs, not MLMers, but man, we do have stuff like that. But I used to help people find these online jobs and find these sites and these systems that would work for people and what to ask and how to prepare yourself to do those things. Because some of you just want that, right? You just want to be able to work from home, and that's okay because you have family, you want to be close to them and everything, right? And this is a trading website. This is a trading network, right? But it's really coming about to what is our mission statement is to help as many people as possible. So I'm going to put some advanced courses together for those that want them. So you can go visualize that and see what you need to do. So you can work from home, maybe do a few things at home so you can trade. And so you have the freedom and the availability and the fluidity to be able to do whatever you want at that time. Set your schedule and be able to make that happen. Right? So we're also going to train you how to work from home once you decide to work from home, because I've been doing it now for close to 8 years. And of course, the advanced stuff for learning how to market yourself and the company and the system, because it's really about, if you're here and you're making it a position of career, whether or not you need to see, I've had a few people say, well, I got to wait until I see it. And that's fine. You got to do whatever you got to do. Okay. But for those that know what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, how many other people could it benefit if you brought them to us? It's going to benefit us and you, of course, right? You're building a business. It's going to benefit us because it'll bring in income into the company. It'll benefit me personally because it'll allow me to build even more, to help even more, to push more people into the process to help us build even more. See where this is going? Our mission statement takes over. I was playing catch up here this past couple of days with some people that I had meetings with and wasn't able to do over the holiday. And I was doing that yesterday. And I started to ask some very private questions of, what do you think of us as a company? How are we doing as a company? And that's something I'm asking all of you in the room too. And I don't need answers in the chat room. But if you find that we're lacking something. And of course, everybody's going to be lacking something. Everybody can find the hole in the cheese, right? But overall, compared to competitors, compared to the world, compared to other companies you dealt with, how are we performing? And by all means, let us know. You can let us know either by making comments, going in customer support, sending us an email. There's like 50 million different ways. And the reason I say it in this kind of fashion is because we want you, warts and all, right? Because that's the only way we get better. We're not perfect. We're not always aware of every little thing that happens. So that's what we want. We want engagement. We want relationship. That only comes by your participation. I had a person come on the other day. He was here for 10 minutes. I mean, 10 minutes. And everything was an issue. I don't like the way the site looks. I don't like the colors are. I don't like that. It's distracting. Why can't you just send it to my phone? I'm working all day. I asked him to go. I gave him his money back and I asked him to leave. Not because I can't be bothered with people, because there's some mentalities that just don't want to do it, don't want to work, don't want to build. You're here for realization of trading. We're here to provide that. I'm not a perfect trader. Some of you don't want to hear that, but I'm not. I'm not a perfect trader. What I am good at is assessing my time, putting it into motion, and allowing myself to focus on a specific segment of trades, do them, and make my money. I'm not lazy. I just like to be efficient. I don't trade 50 times a day anymore. I trade 2 or 3 times a week now, even less than when I first started back in, or secondly started, we started rebuilding back in March, where I knocked it down to from 50 times to about 10 times a day. Now I'm doing about 4 times a week. I'll make twice as much money. I don't like boasting that, by the way. You can tell I'm not a very boastful person. Concept here is, before I get too off track, is that we're going to teach you how to market yourself in this process, in this company, and you and the network and what you want to build. It's not for everybody. For those that it is for, you're going to enjoy the hell out of it. For those that are not, you're still going to benefit, because we're going to be building these things and they're all going to be for you anyway. All right, you ready? Let's have some fun. We're going to talk about the new indicator group, right? People always talk about indicators and all this stuff, but I'm going to talk about the group, support and resistance. Most of you should know what support and resistance is, right? But if you don't worry. We'll discuss some of it here. We'll discuss some of it more in advanced training. But the high and low of an area of any time frame, or of any time of chunk of area of time, there's always a high and there's always a low. It doesn't always mean that it's a support and resistance, but every area of support, meaning the low of the low, is a rejection point. Okay, that's really comes back down to is rejection. Rejection from an area. And there's only one of 2 things that can happen in a binary network: is it can either reject it or break through it. Right? Sometimes you have a little bit of both, but really it's the close over the line, whether it's considered a rejection or a breakthrough. Now, as most of you should already know, that a true support and resistance isn't about a single line, right? Because a support line, 1 minute, could turn into a resistance line the next, depending on where the program closed at, right? All right. So the idea of where any one candle closes is the reference to, is that support or resistance? You also know that support and resistance is never really about just a single number. So this isn't like 130.19, right? It's not about the one line. It's usually referred to as a range, right? The line is usually the middle. Now, how far that range is really depends on the pair and the movement and previous data that's there. You have to engage that. Sometimes a wick on a range may, the wick may be the top of the range and the close might be the bottom of the range, right? So it's all really depends on how you perceive it and how you can see it. Support and resistance, placing the lines on there, is more artistic than it is technical. You all understand that? That the fluidity of being able to place lines onto a chart is more subjective to your own experience rather than to the technical. There are technical versions of it. Let me jump over and start my MetaTrader since I had to restart my computer. And I want to show you what we have done. Excuse me. And let me open up the desktop. Here we go. All right, before I show you that, let me do one other thing. And some of you seen me do this before. And I want to show you this because it's probably the most enlightening, refreshing thing you'll ever see. Can you imagine trading with a chart like this? Have some of you seen me do this before? Can you imagine that? Could you imagine trading with a chart like this and just this chart, right? Let's see if anybody answered there. Hang on one second. Okay. So in understanding what the chart is, of course, this is the Euro USD, if you have to expand your screens. And this is a single, no indication on the chart whatsoever. Has nothing on it, right? We all agree that. We can see big movements. Here's the NFP. Here's some news from today. Okay, this is on a 1 hour chart. If we break it down to a 15-minute chart, kind of looks even crazier, right? We all know about macro and micro looks on how to engage the chart. Doesn't matter what kind of charting system it is. But the idea of finding what support and resistance is starts on a time frame. You can usually start on a daily and work your way down. And as you work your way down, usually from a daily to an hour to 15-minute, usually those 3 time frames, you begin to see those relationships happen throughout the different time frames. Like a daily will show up and be up around in this area for a daily support or resistance area. While a 1 hour time frame might have something in this particular area. And as you can kind of see, when I draw a line, you can see where that range is. Now, of course, this is the NFP day, right? So there's a lot of movement here. Basically, some of you may not be able to see my screen, but you can kind of see the adjustment here. That look, it hit this line here, kind of came down, did its thing throughout the week, and here's Friday, hit it there, right? Now we've pierced through that in a 1 hour segment. Man, that's a lot of growth here. Wow, that's 81 pips that happened today. It's crazy. My favorite pair today for scalping on a GMT, right? Absolutely, Paul. You kicked its ass. But the idea of support and resistance happens when you get an understanding of where everything is at, right? What works for you. So as you see this one line down here, let me engage that line. Let me see where that was at again. This is the line I want to get to right there. So I'm going to put a vertical line right here so I can find out where that's at. Come on, it's too far out. Hang on one second. I do apologize. There it is. Okay. So when I'm referring to the range of any one support and resistance area, you see where this both of these bars stop at the same number, right? One stops there and begins there because it's continuous, right? So it doesn't mean that that's been tested twice. It means that that's where it bounced off at. But you go over here to the left a little bit, and you can kind of see where precisely it's pushed to that line, right? But some of it's broken through. So I would really consider this from this point, this being the lowest point, to this point, somewhere in between being the range of this. You can kind of see this here, being the range. Let's see if I can draw a box here, right? This would be the range, right? From this point to this point. So this would be the support and resistance range, if you will. And that's basically what our system is doing. So when you see a single line, it's not to be considered the begin and end all of it, but it could end in the middle or end above or a little bit below, right? But you really get to see the power of it. Even though the people want to push past it, get close to it, it doesn't really matter. And as you start going back in time, you start seeing, well, how many other times did that line become close? It's huge. How far back? Look at that. Perfection. Ended right on it, right? Real close to it, right on it. There's a reason why 12079 to like 85 is very powerful, because it's been done in the past, right? This range down here that we're down in here looking at, look at this. This is how powerful the knowledge of it coming to and bouncing off of. When it's above it, it is then considered a support area. When it's below it, it's considered a resistance area. Why wouldn't you use this data, this information, simply by what's happened in the past, and by showing that each one of these lines and ranges has psychological value? Why wouldn't you use that to trade with? Could you trade with it? Like right now, I could tell you the Euro USD is going to try to come back to this number sometime, depending on if there is no other news and it was just that this impulse purchase, this impulse trend here of this single line is now becoming corrective and coming back down, right? That once it got to its level, right? Once it got to its level and it, wrong line. It got to its range right there, right? See all these touches here to here, kind of gets involved right there and then starts to say, okay, but it keeps pushing, keeps everybody going, because nobody wants it to end, right? Everybody wants them to get their money and get their money, and then they want to get as high as they can to sell it all off and do whatever, right? Now it's fatiguing and it's going to disappear, right? Where's it going to go? Where would you think it would go? Right? See these lines? Boom. Now, this was done by me manually, artistically looking at it and finding the different values and relationships and patterns, all by just looking at the chart, not in any indication, no automation, no nothing, right? Here, it's done. Let me change the colors of the, I'll get rid of this as well. This is how easy it is to change the colors in this thing. I love this program. Change the blue, a little dark blue. There we go. So you can see the lines. Okay. Let's drag that Euro USD over. Let's see if I back out here too. If it's, you can see the lines. Now watch this, right? Here's some of the lines that are being done. You see on the chart, the system, because it collapses them after certain periods of time. Not that much different, right? It's depicting the lines for this line as a range, right? You see that because of this. Look at that. This one hard line in there. It's saying that this is going to be the bounce off right here. But because I use my artistic eye to look at it for here as well, I didn't depict that because I didn't go back far enough, right? I didn't see this line. If I had, it would look like this. And then the difference between the machine and the man is this. You see that? Even these lower lines, it's seeing the range being right around here because this is more of a channel. That's how intelligent I've made it. It's had to be this. So the idea of what all this information, what do all these lines mean? It's so confusing. It's not really. Once you dress it all back down to the active, right? What works for you, what doesn't. Now, being a support and resistance indicator, that's what it's doing, right? It's indicating what the support and resistance zones are and those ranges. Remember, not one single line is its own begin and end all. But do you think that this line is going to reject it? It's a possibility. It already came close once. See, look, it broke through and then it touched it. Took off again, came back and tried to touch it. Came off again, came back and tried to touch it. Did touch it, came through it. Broke it again, came through. Now, if this bar closes on the opposite side of it, this then could become a resistance area instead of support, right? That's how it's engaged with. So you could go to Nadex and go to a stop of 12:30, go to a 3 o'clock expiry or 1 o'clock expiry and said it's going to be above somewhere here. If this closes over this line, you could use this as, or come up higher than and find another area to get one that's in best money anywhere, right? No, that didn't really make a lot of sense, but because you're looking for the best possible trade to get into. Now, how can you have even more of an advantage of confirmation is that you take that same indicator, right, and you add the DEX zigzag on. Just right out of the box. Don't even touch anything. Just go like that. Okay. And this is where it gets a kind of a little bit of a wishful thinking process. Even if you traded every single arrow for the next hour, you're going to be feathered with a success rate, 80 to 90%, right in that, depending on the pair. But this is not a set and forget process. This is a solution for all of you to work with, but it's the clock on the wall. This is for those that want to have that advantage for themselves, but you can't just rely on it because it's about you. Look at that line holding true. If it does hold true, it's going to bounce up and this might turn into a blue on the 1 hour. If not, if it closes over it, it could be that this arrow is failing and if this is going to fail off, then you would get out of this trade. You're only 6 pips out of the mark on that. But I want to show you how to read this process. I want to show you how to utilize this system on how to trade it on Nadex. You could trade it immediately on binaries and have a success rate of above 80% from the time that fails out. Time the arrow shows up and gives you an alert. Right? So the idea here is pay attention on this part of it. I'll have more training on this, but just want you to be able to see what I'm referring to is that when an arrow shows up, it's giving you a confirmation of the trend of the direction. That's what a zigzag is, right? The zigzag process, okay? The definition of zigzag is it's a trend following indicator, right? And it's following the trend, right? And then the backle, right? The zigzag, right? So it's following, all right, oh, it failed. All right, now it's coming back up and this is where it says, all right, it's reactionary to the trend failing and then getting back into trend again. Does that make sense? It's used to eliminate those random fluctuations in price so you can find the true direction of the trend. The breakdown of the zigzag indicator is really about letting the trend follow its ultimate goal, right? So the trend is your friend kind of process. But because it has lag and because it's using the information from prior to, it's not about the timing or the entry for this. It's more so of confirmation that it is overall doing that which it's pointing to. Yes, you could go to a 15-minute time frame and have an overall shot of direction. Okay, but there's a lot more indication at that point. Okay, and a lot more opportunity for stuff to go wrong. Right? So this is more about an overall macro look. You could even go to a half hour, split the difference, and you could have a different success. Of course, I did put it on the screen. Hang on a second. You could put it on a 15-minute chart, a 30-minute chart, 5-minute chart, a 1-minute chart. Support and resistance will still handle it because everything's got a support and resistance value, depending on if it's a 1 hour, 2 hour, 15-minute, 5-minute, doesn't matter. How could it look for you? Well, depending on what strike you took and where you got in at what arrow, where it works for you and where it doesn't is really up to you at this point. See, because I can't develop every single system and go through the process and strategy test every single mentality behind it, you already know that the systems will work if it's 50-50. What makes it 70-30? What makes you that 70% success rate or 80-20 or 90-10? It's all about you, right? It's about the times that you trade. It's about building your mentality about what works and doesn't work for you. The same people that can trade with those 20-minute signals may not be able to trade binaries, 5-minute binaries, may not be able to trade the WOs. You then also have to ask yourself, how much more can you add before it becomes inundated, right? What can you do? My son's having a field day today. Okay, what else could you add to this? There's a lot of information to begin with, but if you added things like, let's just see. I inserted I did go over, right? Yeah, okay. Come up here to insert, go to thing, go to trend, go to, let's say, moving average. It's already set up at 20 there. You do the same thing and add a 50 EMA to it, because now you're looking at the trend being indicated by the EMA, right? Add a 50 for a high low. Of course, you don't want to have the same color, so you can value crossover. Have something like that. You know, colors don't really matter. You change the colors for whatever you want to make them, but right. Look at that. That's completely rejected it. You see? Remember that line? It was coming down below it. Think the lines are powerful? I think so. The thicker the line, the more it's been tested. Okay. So in all actuality, the arrows can be conceived as it's coming in, it's going to be rejecting this particular line. An up arrow underneath the line can be considered that it's going to reject from the line. It all depends on your vision and what works for you. that this arrow is holding true. Not that the next arrow or next hour or the next bar is going to be an up bar, but more, is it going to be up above this line? You could use it in that fashion. And then how would you use that information for Nadex and trading Nadex? Well, simply you would grab a strike that would be close to this or lower and say it's going to be an up from that position. Why? Because you got an uptrend, you have an arrow indication, and you have an understanding of where that range is at. What works for you? That's what you have to ask yourself now. What works for you with that indication system that I just showed you? Okay. Practice with that. Use the system. Get it on your MT4s. If you don't know how to use that, go to MetaTrader Mayhem. Go through the process on how to log in, how to do all that stuff. If you don't have time, don't sweat it. Don't think that, oh, I can't trade remote, I can't do that on my phone. Screw it, you're not going to be doing it on your phone. Sorry, guys. I'm not making you an app that'll do that on your phone. You can't make the hour at night to sit down and do it, then don't do it. Do something else. Use the WOs, use interdays, use dailies, use 20-minute trade room, whatever it is. All right? Not trying to be a jerk, but I'm telling you right now, you have to make the time to be able to do it. You have to make it first before you make it easy. If you got to take an hour a night to be able to do that, then do it, however long it takes you. If it takes you 6 months to do it, yeah, I know you're paying for a system. You're paying for us. If you need help with that, let me know. Reach out to us. You all know that I'm here to help you. I'm not here to live off of your wage. I'm here to make a company work for as many people as possible. Our mission statement. Now, we need your help. In the world of success for us, we need to know things are working and how well things are going, right? So let me see if I can find it here right now. There is a website that I want you to go to if you haven't already. It's TechSmith, right? And you're going to be looking up Jing, right? Just the word Jing. I'm going to put it in the room here right now. This is the website for you to get. It's a really stupidly simple program on how to screen share. It's going to give you a little, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's going to give you a little arrow up here, or a little ball, if you will, a little sun. It's going to give you a little process like this. It's going to give you like this little line that you're going to have, right? Little crosshair. And when you hover over things and you select them, you can hit capture, okay? And see how easy this is. You can even then dial notes on there. You can do a whole bunch of things. You can point arrows and say, look, I made a trade and I won, yay. And you could do all that stuff to it, right? And just remember that, you know, whatever you send, just try to make it as easy on the eyes as possible. And then hit save, and it's going to go to your file, and you'll know where it's at. And then you can add it to your favorite chat room or Facebook or whatever it is. Just in that simple system alone, that's very powerful for us. If you take a screenshot, okay, using Jing to take a screenshot of your account, make sure there's no personal information in there, okay, but share your results inside the chat room, like Paul and Thor and everybody else do. Share that information. Happens that 2 or 3 things happen when you do that. One, you get to show us that it's working for you, or even if there's mistakes, we can see them firsthand. You know, whatever it might be, share that information, because that process of sharing the information, we then share it with the world to show other people that it works. Because a lot of people have doubt that some of this stuff works. Some people who are working it and don't work it, but those that are successful, that's why we're sharing it with you. So you can see, so you can remove all that other bullshit and all that other doubt and all that darkness. Remember, right? What's our mission statement? To shine the light on the dark. Right? That's what it's about. So we need your help. Share as much as you possibly can so we can then share with the world and bring in more people as well. Help us help you with your success. Let us know what you need. Let us know what we're lacking for you. Let us know how we're doing. If we are doing good, share it with us so we can share it with the world as well. Comment, give testimonials, do whatever you can do. Because we have to let the world know that there's too much darkness in this industry. And we have to be that beacon of light that shines above everybody else. All those companies out there. All right. So normally I have a questions and answers afterwards. I really want to be able to do that. I have some meetings I have to get into, and I know this kind of went a little bit longer than normal. I'll stop the recording right now. I want to thank everybody who's watching this after the fact. Please, please, please share your information with us. Let us know what's going on. And I hope to see you inside and trade well. Everybody else hang out just for just a second.